Welcome. Joe Volpe, publisher of Corriere Canadese, North America's only Italian-language daily newspaper, on behalf of Go Live TV, Corcan Media Group, and of course Corriere Canadese. Today from the Confederation Bridge that you see there behind me that links New Brunswick to PEI. It's a 13-kilometer bridge, fabulous infrastructure program. You're not going to be able to have too many more of those because we've got an immigration minister who's a disaster for pilot projects like this one 30 years ago. So that's our comment of the day. It's a comment that displaces SNC-Lavalin. Can you imagine that? Minister Ahmed Hussen, he's got so many pilot projects in his department, he could run his own union local and choose to be its business manager. Now that might be reassuring for potential immigrants. He succeeded in building a Byzantine maze to Canadian permanent residency that only the Mad Hatter from the Batman movies can navigate. Now, thanks to Hussen, there are so many new rules and pathways to achieving Canadian residency that there are, in effect, no rules, only exceptions. And they require the lubricant that the SNC-Lavalin affair has highlighted. It's a five-letter word, money. And he, as minister, is the only one with the jurisdictional authority to grant status. The prize that says, you have found your way. Sound odd? Well, it won't seem so when you consult the department's website and find that its first entry is a disclaimer, highlighted in blue, advising the reader that the information they're about to read is posted only as a courtesy. The real facts are contained in the Law, Immigration, and Refugee Protection Act. The explanations in and of themselves do not compel any immigration officer to take a specific decision. Hence, they may require legal counsel for navigation. They are replete with ifs, ands, or buts. The main, if not the singular goal of the immigration program is to provide Canada with the human resources it needs to remain demographically sustainable while serving the needs of its, hopefully, expanding and competitive economy. The Government of Canada shares this goal and jurisdiction with the provincial governments, but it alone grants entry status into the country. Sometimes it acts in concert with the provincial counterparts through pilot programs to encourage settlement or investment in specific regions or industrial sectors. It involves big money and large political considerations. One case in point is the Atlantic Province's pilot project. You saw the big bridge that connects the mainland to the island. And, potential immigrants to Canada who might not otherwise qualify for entry can select this pilot and, once in, take advantage of mobility rights available to all permanent residents and leave for other provinces. There's a healthy price to pay by applicants for that privilege. Not surprisingly, there are ample opportunities for abuse by the receiving provinces, whose participating enterprises, and I say that in quotes, are just as happy to take the money and then let the applicants run away elsewhere. The abuse has been particularly bad under Ahmed Hussen's watch, as reported by some investigative journalism conducted by the CBC and others. It found that the abuses bordered on fraud. Now, the CBSA, which is the department that takes care of protecting our borders, investigated the practice of immigration departments concerned. That's the federal government plus the provincial government. One department of government investigating another. Imagine that. In New Brunswick, a province in negative population growth, that means there's more people dying than there are being born, employers have taken to advertising abroad for qualified help to fill positions in sectors that will profit from government infrastructure programs like shipbuilding or like that bridge that we just see behind us. enticing potential workers with easy entry into Canada and subsidizing the wages of the employer in that process. You can't ask for anything better than that. But, there's a saying, it's biblical, so forgive me. What the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away, so to speak. In central Canada, Ontario to be more specific, Hussen's predecessor, faced with a veritable sea of immigrants who made their way here without assistance or incentives, announced a pilot project to regularize the roughly 500,000 men and women who labor in the marketplace in Ontario productively, but without documentation, without status, without that piece of paper that says you're here and you're allowed to be here. Hussen initially supported that pilot, whether it had been put in the Gazette or not, but now denies it ever existed. His colleague, Ralph Goodale, minister for CBSA, is left but with no choice in law but to deport those 500,000 people, their families and their children included. Were that to happen, the economy would take an incalculable hit. At the very least, the construction sites in the GTHA would be shut down. The Toronto Catholic District School Board, one of many to be affected, would lose about 8,000 students and the grants that accompany them, each one of them $12,000 apiece. Meanwhile, the political class is in the grips of the SNC-Lavalin affair, fearful that some 3,400 jobs may be at risk in Quebec. They're not. Hussen, probably under the direction or the consent of the Prime Minister's office lead advisors, Gerald Butts and Katie Telford, has taken the position that he knows best, preferring to tinker with pilots rather than solve a problem. That's why the Dimitri, typical family, is not going to get a good look by him. More to follow tomorrow and the day after and the day after that on the plight of immigrants, families, and children who are here earning a living, contributing to the economy, and not getting any satisfaction from Ahmed Hussen. Joe Volpe, on behalf of Corriere Canadese, Go Live TV, inviting you to follow us on social media. In fact, you might even follow other material on our social media channels. And inviting you to stay tuned. After these messages, we'll have commentary in Italian and in Portuguese. Ciao.